Hello, everyone. Sarah here. Yes, my eye is totally messed up, so you're going to have to forgive this because the content of this video is so much more important than the way my eye looks. That's just a fact. So with that said, I can try to do the video like this. If it really bothers you. Otherwise, just listen to the content. So the content is the concept that came from a private one-to-one client in our breakthrough session. And it was this connection with there's no one to blame. She had lived her life in blame for what she described as far too long. And I could completely relate to that. I lived my life in blame for far too long, blaming other people for my pain, blaming myself for the things that I would have, could have, should have done, all the stories that were floating around in my head that were causing emotional pain, disconnect, and turmoil. When you're free from blame, not just blaming other people, not blaming the emotional manipulators and abusers and the people who were emotionally unavailable and just not there, not present in the way that your heart longed and desired for them to be there. You're free. When you're free from blame, you're free. And it gets to be that easy. It gets to be that simple because your mind is trying to make sense of it. Your mind is trying to put the pieces together and make everything make meaning and have a meaning and to tell a story. Well, this happened, so it must mean that, or this happened, so it means that I can't do this because, and it's constantly connecting and attaching, and oftentimes disconnection and detachment get a bad rap, but that really sometimes is part of the unconscious breakthrough that sets you free, free from blame, free from shame. So when there's no one to blame, when there's nothing to blame, is when you're free because there's no one and there's nothing there. So what is there when there's nothing there? There's just freedom. There's space. It's it's what she described as now there's an empty space, a blank canvas, but the empty space is what I needed because before in that space was blame, was shame, were stories of pain. So now that there's no one to blame, I no longer see those people who I used to see as the ones that did things to me that caused my pain in that way. They're gone. The energy, the emotion, the stories, the connection is gone. So now, with no one to blame, I'm free from the shame because with someone to blame, there was shame. Such a beautiful, powerful insight and unconscious internal connection and awareness to this. This was the key that set her free. And I love, love, love working privately and one-to-one with clients because this is what you get to experience. This is what you get to look forward to. Your mind making the unconscious connection it needs to make for you and for hers. It was freedom. It was complete freedom and the removal of anyone or anything to blame. The ways that she had been carrying the shame and the blame of making herself wrong for times in the past when she should have not turned to alcohol, when she should have not turned to another relationship to try and mask or fix the problems that she was experiencing in a different one. So when there's no one to blame is when you're set free. And what happens is oftentimes we look for other people to blame. Well, it's that I'm feeling this or I'm experiencing this because you, and in that there's someone else to blame. And it feels good. So we get this secondary gain from keeping the blame, keeping the person or the story or the thing that we can put everything on and blame everything on so that we can have our defense mechanisms, our coping mechanisms, and we can turn to the things that allow us to experience temporary relief. But oftentimes we blame ourselves for those or we blame that. If it weren't for the box of cookies being there, I wouldn't be overweight. So we can blame insignificant things like cookies or like something being in the house that we turn to as a crutch when our feelings, our emotions, and we're blaming our feelings and emotions and we're saying, I can't handle this. And then we're blaming our feelings for being bad or wrong or not there for us. I want to experience trust, but trust isn't there for me. So therefore, I'm blaming the lack of trust. And when I don't experience trust, I experience a lack of it. Then I take it out on my partner because, at that point, they can just do no right. And so we're constantly looking and seeking for connection to things to blame, whether it be inanimate objects like a box of cookies, or whether it be another person, whether it be a boss, whether it be money, whether it be something that we have given this value. Well, I'm blaming money or the lack of money because it's in its absence, and it's a neglect from being a part of my life, that I can't go do these things, that I can't leave this situation, I can't get out of this relationship. Do you see how we create stories around this? And in the stories, there's a line, there's an energy, there's a connection to blame. And when there's no one to blame or nothing to blame, there's freedom because there's nothing there. It's amazing. There's nothing to blame. So what is there when there's nothing? There's freedom, because there's no connection to a story. And I realize my eye looks so weird. I'm like looking at it going, nah, so strange. But just such a powerful insight, awareness, and concept, and was the key to setting her free. She said, Sarah, there's no more blame. There's nothing there to blame. And I was the one putting the blame. I could dictate and direct and control where I put blame and what I put blame on. I could blame the cookies for making me fat. I can blame the boss that I don't like for me not getting the promotion or the raise, and create a story around it not being I can't move because I am stuck here at this position in this job. I was just blaming, blaming, blaming. But when I remove the blame, I really get to be with what's there, and what's there when the blame is gone is freedom. I have power, I have choice, I have ability because I've removed the blame, and holy crap, am I set free. You're set free. And she was able to breathe in a way that she has not been able to breathe in, what she said, as long as I can remember. Because as long as I can remember, I was always blaming other people, because as long as I can remember, I was being modeled blaming. She grew up in an environment where there was just a lot of finger pointing, a lot of emotional immaturity, a lot of emotional disconnection, detachment. And so there was a lot of blame, a lot of projection, and in that a lot of pain. And when she deeply connected with internally and unconsciously what was going on within her, she said, there's no one to blame, there's nothing to blame. I now have freedom, I have power, I have choice, I have ability, I have control. Now I can dictate, navigate, and direct my life in the direction that I desire for it to go. Amazing. So, needed to share this with you today, this message, her insight, awareness, and connection to her breakthrough, because it may be an element, a key, and a connection to yours. Who knows? Only your unconscious mind can allow you to go where you need to go within you to make these metaphorical unconscious connections to being the key that will set you free. That's the power of really working one-to-one and privately together, because we get insights and awarenesses to things like this. When there's no one to blame is when you're set free. So if you're ready to truly set yourself free from the prison of your mind and the things that you're blaming outside of you for the things you're experiencing and feeling inside of you, let's connect. You can find out more information at sarahpicaro.com. And I am hoping by the time I share my next video, my eye will not look so funky. Or if not, I'll just do it like this. Okay, with all jokes aside, I would love to connect with you at sarahpicaro.com. You can find out more information about working privately or my signature program, Transforming Past Pain to Present Power. And I know my eye looks painful. It's not, it just looks bad. Okay, love you guys. That's all for today. Bye for now.